Survivor 45 week 2. A little better than last week. Can't really get much worse than what happened at the end of last week. We ended with the quitter, Hannah, who just literally just quit the game by having her tribe vote her out. So it was like almost a quit in technical terms, but she got voted out because she literally asked everybody to vote her out. She quit the game. Everyone pretty much roasted her online all week after that. And, you know, after that, you know, you saw interviews of her and stuff. She's trying to play like, oh, but I know I wanted to be there for real, but not really. So we had a quitter last week. It was a little bit of a rough start, but we're on to week 2. But it is not a good start for Lulu, because Lulu is another disaster in this episode too. So it's better than last week because we didn't have the full meltdown of like someone just quitting the game. That's basically. So the Lulu tribe is still a mess. We already knew they were a mess besides just Hannah. There's Brandon still. There's Emily, who is just completely insufferable and annoying. So like half this tribe is a wreck, a complete wreck. And actually the other members of the tribe are actually fine. I actually think they're fine, but it's those 3 members and now 2 members that are just making this whole tribe a wreck. Especially Brandon. Emily's annoying, but Brandon is just a disaster. He's a complete disaster. So they get back from tribal. Lulu's kind of mad. You got Sabaya, I believe that's her name. She's on this tribe as well, and she's not happy with Emily. Nobody's really happy with Emily. It seems like everybody really wanted to get rid of Emily last week, but Hannah ended up just quitting the game, so they were not able to get Emily out. So that is probably who is like the next big target now for everybody, because that was their plan, and now Emily is still in the game. And you see in this episode, she's trying to make amends with her tribe a little bit, but she's not really that good at it, and ultimately it just doesn't work out. She's not really that open to making that many amends. Ultimately, it just comes down to her just being completely annoying and just not working well with her tribe at all. She does make amends with Caleb in the tribe, but that's really the only person we really ever see Emily kind of come back and make good with them in some way. So she's making good with somebody, but it's not going that great for Emily. She's just not liked that much. And again, the Lulu tribe in general, you got Emily on there who's a mess. You got Brandon on there who can't do anything. And it's just a tribe of disaster. And I kind of feel sorry for the other 3 that are just stuck on that tribe. So a little bit more that going into the tribe. You follow the other tribes now. You got Reba, the Red Reba tribe. A little bit that happened there. Austin, who had found the little advantage for the clue on finding the idol, he actually was able to figure it out on the tribe flag. So he was able to figure out the words. I don't think he found his idol yet, but he was able to figure out the clue, and it actually is essentially like, it was like a split up, like through the middle, through the half words. So like the top of the weird symbols is actually like the top of letters, and he was able to figure out like the hidden message as he like brought his clue up to it. So there's like a hidden message with cut off words, and he was able to put it together, and he's now figured out the clue, and I think he'll probably end up finding his idol at some point, although I think someone on his tribe was also figuring it out, so maybe it'll be figured out by somebody else without them even having the clue. That'd be kind of interesting to see. But he did find the hidden clue. And on the Belo tribe, or Bello tribe, whatever you want to call it, the blue tribe, there was some interesting interaction between like Bruce and Katura. I hope I said that name right. She's a little suspicious of Bruce, and we saw a little bit of that last week where like people were kind of a little bit suspicious of Bruce. He's a little too likable and stuff, and he's just kind of, you know, happy and upgoing in this show. And I do like Bruce so far. I'm glad to see him back. I'm glad to see him in this game because he's actually one of the people I'm liking so far in the game. It is, you know, unfortunate that he got out of the game last season. And it's kind of cool to see him back, but she is not very enlightened to see Bruce. She's like very suspicious of him. She doesn't trust him. She feels like he's just a little bit too just suspicious. And I might think she's digging a little bit too hard because she's going into the whole, oh, well, he was on last season, and that makes him a target because he was on last season for a moment, and now, you know, he has all this experience. Maybe it's like, no, he doesn't. He was hardly in the game. I don't think him being on last season was really an issue. Like, I guess as a viewer looking at it, it's like I don't see what kind of advantage he has from being on like a first few days of the season and then he's just out. Or was it the first day, really? He was out. So I don't really see what advantage he really had. But I guess there's somebody on the tribe who sees it that way, as Bruce is somehow a target now because he was on last season for a quick moment. I I don't see it, but maybe it could have an effect on his game going forward. So as we do head back to the Lulu tribe, there is some other stuff that happened. Emily is out there crying and weeping about her emotions because there's always going to be someone crying like every single episode these days. It gets a little tiring. And then Brandon actually ends up finding the hidden clue for the hidden immunity idol. And he sees it. It's like the beware advantage thing. And he finds it. I believe he gives it to Sabaya. I don't know why he did. I guess he didn't want to open it because it said beware on it. Maybe he didn't want to take that risk because they know well aware now that if you open the beware advantage, you lose your vote. So he gives it to her and she does open the thing. So now I guess it's hers. And she is the one who has to now find this hidden idol for tribal or whatnot, or else she doesn't have a vote at all. So she has to find this idol in some way with the clue that she has. And it's a little different than before. This time it's with like a map. So it's not exactly the same like the tribe flag. So I do like that they're kind of mixing it up a little bit. It's not like the same exact type of scenario every single tribe. So it's a little bit of a map puzzle to figure out. And she's able to figure out which tree it is in. And she does end up finding the hidden idol, but she's not able to use it because it's in a candle. And it's in the candle, and you have to melt the candle to get that is the rules of the thing. You have to melt the candle that she found, and her idol is inside. But they don't have a flint. The tribe doesn't have a flint. Very unfortunate for the Lulu tribe. Another mess for them. So she's unable to get that idol, and she's just kind of stuck not having it for now, and she still doesn't have a vote. So we're going to go off and do another one of these mysterious, like, risk your vote challenges. So as they're sitting on, each tribe sitting on their beaches, a boat comes up and picks up one person from each tribe, and they're going off to do once again, they're going to do the risk your vote challenge to either lose your vote at tribal, or you can have an advantage or an immunity idol in some sort. So I think this time it's an advantage, and the advantage is you are safe at tribal, but the thing is, you have to leave tribal council and you cannot vote. So you have no power, but you are able to be safe at tribal council, so you're not being able to vote it out. So it's kind of interesting there. I think they've done that one before too, but they end up sending off, Lulu sends off Brandon, Bello sends off Bruce, and Reba sends off Drew. So there's only one person who didn't risk their vote, and that's Bruce. So he doesn't do the whole challenge at all. He's fine. He literally just goes back to his tribe like normal, and really nothing changes for him. So that leaves Brandon and Drew. So Brandon from the Lulu tribe, Drew from Reba. Brandon believes he's figured out the puzzle. It's like a matching game where you have to match like two tiles, and whatever tiles are not matching and the three that are left, they'll have numbers on them, and you'll have to match the code to unlock the key thing and get your advantage. And Brandon messes the whole thing up, and he's not actually able to, he thinks he has the three tiles that don't match, but ultimately at the end he's unable to get the challenge finished. He's unable to unlock the key, so he loses his vote. He doesn't get an advantage, and he goes back at his tiles and he looks and he realizes that, yeah, he messed up one of the tiles, and one of the tiles he thought didn't match actually did. So he messed that up. Brandon is literally good at nothing in this game, and we'll see that a little bit later with the challenge. So Brandon, he loses his vote, and Drew actually does complete the challenge, and he is the only one who actually came away with that immunity idol or immunity thing with tribal, where you're able to leave and stay safe. So Drew on the Reba tribe, he does have that advantage now, and he goes back, and I think he does actually tell his tribe that too. When we get to the actual challenge, Jeff does something. The game of Survivor, they've done something finally that I am so happy that they've done. I think this was a complaint with a player last season. I think it was last season, where there was this girl who was sitting out like multiple challenges in a row until she basically got voted out. I don't forget her name, but I think it was last season. It was early in the season. She was sitting out over and over and over. And I kept thinking to myself, this is ridiculous. Like, you're going to have the same person just tell her tribe, oh, I'm just going to sit out and not do the challenge. Oh, guys, I don't want to do this one either. I'll sit out again. And then I'll sit out again. And I'll be like 3-4 weeks in a row with sitting out of the same the challenge. And you're no help. You're no use to your tribe at all. So Jeff goes ahead and makes it very clear that this season of Survivor, and I would hope going forward, that you cannot sit out of a challenge 2 weeks in a row, 2 challenges in a row. So you can't just go from one challenge to the next and just sit out every single time. There's now a rule. If you sit out one challenge, the next one you have to play. I love that. I think that's great. and we don't have to watch the same person sit out over and over again. That was kind of annoying and frustrating to see last season. So I'm glad that they did that. And then going into the challenge, we have the 3 tribes, and ultimately they do this big water challenge and whatnot, and they get to this big puzzle, and Brandon is a complete mess. This guy can't do physical challenges. He can't do the physical part of the challenges. So they get to the final puzzle bit at the end. They're all doing their puzzles. And Brandon, he couldn't do the physical stuff. So he stayed back and he said, I'm going to do the puzzle this time. I will be one of the puzzle guys this time around. And he can't do the puzzle. The Lulu tribe is a wreck. Especially Brandon. You got Bello, you got Reba. They both get their puzzles pretty quickly, pretty well done. They both win again, and Lulu loses. Very much specifically because of Brandon, because he couldn't figure out the puzzle. And so, not only is he not good at the physical stuff at all, the physical challenges, which he is he's not good for their tribe. He's also not good at the puzzles too, which he said he was good at. And then Brandon also couldn't do his own challenge, his own puzzle to get his own immunity for this tribe, in this tribal. Brandon is useless. This guy is useless. He has no vote. He has no immunity idol. He has nothing. So when you go into tribal, the only thing he has going for him is, but I'm a really trustworthy guy. I am Lulu strong. Yeah, you can take my word for it. I'm friendly. That's all he has left. And it's sad to see. It's so sad to see. This guy is a wreck. He really is. One thing I will say about Brandon, though, is I'm glad he's at least willing to stay. It kind of seemed like last episode he had the same mentality as Hannah, who just wanted to quit. And it seems like he at least wants to be in the game now. I haven't really seen any quitter mentality and stuff with Brandon. So if I got to praise him in anything, I will praise him on that. It seems like he does want to be in the game, and that's a good thing. I like to see that, even though I shouldn't have to be praising something like that, because everyone who applied to be on the game should want to be there. It's just common sense. So going into tribal, we have Brandon, who is the clear obvious choice to go, but you also have Emily, who's still super unlikable and nobody likes her. So it's like, who do we want to vote out? It's very clear that it's between Emily or it's between Brandon, and it's either the choice of, do you want this person who doesn't get along with the tribe at all, but who could still probably be good and fine in challenges, or do you want to get rid of the dead weight who can't do anything? Maybe he's likable and trustworthy, and maybe that's something you want in your game. I've seen people before, they drag along the people who aren't really good at the game for their own gain. Ultimately, they choose to vote out Brandon. So Brandon is the second person voted out, and I think it was the right choice. I think whoever I'd want to watch, I think I'd rather watch Emily rather than. So I just feel sad and embarrassed almost watching Brandon play the game. But at least with Emily, you're annoyed and you're like, oh my god, get her out! Oh my god. I guess she's a little more interesting to watch because you don't like her and she's annoying. I don't know. It's weird. If I had to make the choice, I'd say getting rid of Brandon is probably the best choice for the tribe too, because he's dead weight. He can't do anything. So they got rid of Brandon. He's gone. There's only 3 votes because Sabaya and Brandon don't have votes. So it was only between 3 votes. So 2 votes got Brandon out. He's gone. He is the first person voted out this week, really. He's only the first person voted out in Survivor 45, if you really think about it. And now Hannah and Brandon are gone, both the dead weights of the Lulu tribe. Lulu tribe is a wreck. You just got to get rid of Emily now, and the tribe won't be fixed. It'll just be carving out the bad stuff. So we'll see what happens next week. Lulu tribe is a wreck, and I can't say it was a great episode because once again we're focusing a lot on Lulu, and Lulu is kind of exhausting to watch. It really is. But as we're getting rid of these players who we don't really want to watch that much, or just kind of annoying to watch, maybe it'll get a little better. I don't know. Eventually we're gonna have to focus on another tribe a little more once they lose eventually. So once we get to that point, we'll start learning the other people more. But right now, this kind of happens a lot with Survivor. You end up learning one of the tribes a lot more than the others at first because they kind of get on a losing streak and then they continue to lose players. So that's kind of how Survivor goes, and we'll see what happens next week. Maybe we'll finally break the Lulu losing streak. Who knows?